Hey y'all, it is Brandy, the Millennial Manager, and you are now tuned in to the Millennial Management Podcast. What do we do on this podcast? Well, we talk about situations that are tough in the workplace. No BS, all real talk. And if you don't know, you can follow me over on Brandy, the Millennial Manager on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I even answer questions. So if you have a question that you would like to bring to the podcast forefront, all you have to do is email themailmanagementpod@gmail.com. Again, that email is themailmanagementpod@gmail.com. Now, let's start the show. Hey, baddies. Welcome to the Millennial Management Podcast. I am your host, Brandy, the Millennial Manager. And today, y'all, we are going to be talking about messy ass managers. You may ask yourself, how do I know if I have a messy ass manager? Well, let's talk about it, okay, Betty? Now, one way that you know that you have a messy manager is someone who likes to micromanage, okay? They want to know every single thing in your life. They want to know what you were doing at work, when you sat down, how long did you sit down for, how long did you stand up when you got up, did you take a bathroom break, how long were you gone? How long is this project going to take? They want to know every damn thing when it comes to you working in the workplace. And people who are like that, they generally lack control in their lives. And this is not something that I'm just making up. You think about it now. Most times a manager who is micromanaging, they either got disrespectful kids, a disrespectful spouse, or they just don't have any control of what's going on in their home. If you listen long enough, you'll start to hear some of their at-home problems. Everything that's going on at home is probably jacked up to the max. Okay, they're not happy. They're not being satisfied by whatever their family is doing. And so when they come to work, they have to raise hell for everybody else because they're not happy in their own lives. Okay. Now, the next step, if you don't know whether or not you have a messy manager, this is another area where you can definitely see if this person is a bad manager. They lack communication. Okay. They suffer so bad with communication skills. And the reason why is because they are wanting to create confusion and frustration. Because if I communicate effectively, you'll know exactly what to do. You won't necessarily need me. You won't need me for constant instructions. You won't need me for constant feedback. But if I create a space where my team is not clear on what is supposed to be happening inside of the workplace, they need me. So this person is someone who feels a lack of need at home or outside of work. And so they create that need in the workplace by sowing seeds of confusion, whether they mean to do it or is absolutely unintentional. But that is something that happens. And when you have a manager, if you look at your situation and you say, well, my manager is like this and I'm experiencing these things, we're going to talk about how to reverse it, how to make the workplace a better place for yourself and for your other coworkers. Okay. Now, this person is probably the worst of all of these. Okay. And that might change as we go. But this person may be the worst. Someone who takes credit for others' work. Okay. This person is not a team player by far. They are only concerned with their own achievements. They only want the praise to be given to them. They don't want anybody else receiving any credit, even if it was a team effort. They want all the work or all the reward, and they want all the praise. And this, again, is somebody who is lacking something in their personal life that they feel like they have to come to work and claim credit for things that they did not do or that it was a team effort, and they lack the ability to motivate their employees. They lack that ability to really feed the spirit of the team because they're not really focused on the team. They're only focused on themselves. Now, this next person is someone that really struggles with conflict. Okay, they don't know how to really handle situations when things escalate in the workplace. They don't really know how to address team members when maybe things are said or maybe things are done inappropriately. They really struggle with how to communicate with the team. And when you have a manager that is really, or they have poor conflict resolution, what it does is create a environment of anarchy. Now you have all these mini managers, okay? Mini managers who are not really managers at all, but they are the people who are stepping up to the task to try and solve conflicts when really it's not their responsibility. It is the manager's responsibility. And when you have a manager who cannot sit two people down, or maybe it's one person that needs to be communicated, they don't have the communication skills to sit this person down and really say, hey, what is going on here? Because sometimes a conflict arises in the workplace, and it's not because of malice. It's not because of ill will all the time. Sometimes things happen because of miscommunication. There was a misunderstanding, something that could be so easy. And if you have a bad manager or a manager who lacks conflict resolution skills, this person is not going to be able to bring down the tensions in the workplace. They're just going to escalate them. And another way that this person kind of shows themselves is if they participate in gossip. This is another sure sign, not only that you have poor communication skills or someone that has poor communication skills, but you are someone who likes to gossip, which then fans the flames of conflict. And that is a dangerous game to play in the workplace because really you're causing yourself so much distress, so much frustration because you want to be liked instead of respected. And that is a terrible spot for a manager to be in because instead of you being able to sit down and really bring the tensions down, you escalate by discussing things further that you should not be. You know that these things are inappropriate, but you continue to discuss them. You continue to really fan the flames, and it makes the situations worse. Now that we have discussed really some characteristics of a messy ass manager, let's talk about what to do when we encounter these type of people. Okay. Now, if you are dealing with somebody who is a micromanager, you need to manage up. What does that mean? Managing up is really reversing the things that they are doing inside of the workplace. You're putting it right back at their feet. They want to extensively communicate with you. They want a lot of information on what you're doing every single day. They want multiple emails, multiple meetings. Give it to them. Start asking them several questions because the worst thing that you can do for a micromanager is give them the space to actually micromanage. They are going to run in the opposite direction because they can't handle it. They can only dish it. They can't really handle a micromanager managing up. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. For example, they want to know where you're going every second of the day. Send them an email. Good morning. Just letting you know that these reports are complete. I am going to the restroom. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Let me know if you need anything when you get back from the restroom. Good morning. I hope you had a chance to read the reports. I just got back from the restroom. Is there anything else that you need? I just went to go get a cup of coffee. Is there anything else that you put it back to them? That's exactly what you do. They cannot take it. They will probably run away from you when they see you because you have become their worst fear. You're over communicating because micromanaging is a sign of someone really wanting control. But when you really turn that on its head, they don't want that. They don't want someone really needing them all the time. So really, it's just an act. It's not the reality of the situation. So turn it on its head and you'll be just fine. This next one is fairly simple. If you have a manager who lacks communication skills, you simply need to get them to communicate. Ask for clear-cut instructions. So if I do this is what you would like. Is this the way that you would like for me to go? If I turn left and then the next turn is right and then I should be here, is that correct? You ask them for directions. Get what they want from you in writing 9 times out of 10. Because if they are a terrible communicator and they like to sow seeds of confusion or frustration, then they are more than likely going to reject anything that you say or that they say verbally. So get whatever instructions that you need from them in writing, via email, via Microsoft Teams. Next on the docket is if you have a manager who likes to take credit for the work or the things that you create or the things that you do or put in place inside of the workplace, you need to start keeping detailed records of the things that you have done. Save your emails, save any drafts if you have them. Like if you all utilize Project Manager with your company, you need to save those drafts. Any documentation that shows that you are the person that created these things. Okay. Now, if you run into this more than one time, you need to definitely communicate directly. Schedule a meeting with your boss or manager. Always be calm and professional when you're discussing this information. Okay. Now, instead of being accusatory, go into, I noticed in the last meeting that my contributions to this project weren't mentioned. I'd really like for my work to be recognized. Now, depending on how they respond is where you should start building your next level of engagement. So if they respond with, oh my goodness, I'm very sorry and you all don't have this issue again, then everything is fine. However, if this is someone who is immediately upset, or maybe you already know this about this person, I would not have this meeting separately. I wouldn't have it one-on-one. I would go ahead and go up the ladder. Okay, because if you have someone who is very volatile, this person is upset that you're even confronting them in the first place, you're going to run into an issue in a one-on-one. It's more than likely a better option to have you and another manager and this person just as a witness, because you don't want anything to get misconstrued. You don't want anything to be misunderstood. So make sure that you analyze the situation before you go either direction. If you have a boss that is taking credit for your work, if this person it was an honest mistake and you have not seen this behavior out of this person, then you should bring it up to them one-on-one. And if they don't have a problem with correcting their behavior, then they're immediately going to apologize and make sure that, this gets put out on the forefront. However, if it's somebody that does this and they are a repeat offender, they've done it to others, you have seen the way they talk, they are poor communicators in the workplace, go ahead and escalate. Don't even schedule a one-on-one, because they are going to misunderstand you. They are going to switch your words. They're going to lie. They're going to do whatever they can to protect their image and their position. And you have to be very careful with this person. Now, the last version of the messy ass manager conversation for today is going to be a manager that has poor conflict resolution skills. This person has no idea how to bring down the gauge in the workplace, because things can get kind of heated. They can get kind of complicated in the workplace. And if you have a manager that has no real skill of how to bring the level down, they are not a good listener. They are not able to really bridge the gap between two individuals and maybe two groups, then they are not going to be a good person to have this conversation with. And so what I would recommend when you have a person or a manager that is a poor conflict, or they lack conflict resolution skills, what I would do is I would seek mediation. After you have informed them of a problem or a situation that is happening in the workplace, and you feel like it has not been resolved effectively or properly, that's where I would discuss it either with a higher member of management and that manager, okay? Or you need to discuss it with HR and that manager. And I would be careful. And I'm always going to tell you to be careful, because while HR is called human resources, it's not always a resource for employees, okay? Because HR's job is to protect the company, okay? While they are going to say that it is a great avenue to advocate for employees, that is not always the case. And so really knowing what type of company you are dealing with is going to be the key. If you have a company that really, really values employee management relations, they are really focused on improving every aspect of the workplace, and they really put their focuses on team building, they just really value the team, then you may run into HR who is very supportive and really can help that manager be able to improve the skill of conflict resolution. However, if you have a company that lacks communication, all these things that we talked about in a bad manager, those are implications of a bad company as well. So they don't just come and fall out the sky. They come from the company and fall on to the manager who is in place. And so if they lack communication skills, they don't know how to solve problems, they don't even put people in place to do that. They're not really good at supporting the team. And you can see that after a couple months of being with the company, you know what you're dealing with. And so really gauge the situation. Is it even worth it? Okay. Do you plan on staying at this place for a long time? If the answer to that is no, ignore. Act like whatever is happening does not exist. Whatever dumpster fire that you see, it is a bed of roses. Unless it is like directly causing you an issue, right? Mentally, physically, whatever. If not, and you can find a way to kind of really ignore it, do it, because it's not worth it. They're not going to change. You cannot beat bad management unless the management wants the help. And if you have a company that really does not value the core aspects of having a good team, they have no focus on improving work relations as far as management and employees, then it's not even worth your damn time. You are wasting your breath by trying to get them to see your point of view, because they never will. And what you need to be doing is updating that damn resume. Okay? Don't waste your time now. Now that we are done with our podcast segment, we're going to go over to the Betty segment. And what is that? Betty is what I call my listeners that email their career or management questions over, because we don't want to keep it, we want to keep it confidential up in here. We don't want everybody knowing your name. So your name is going to be Betty every time you send me an email. And if you want to send an email that is related to your career, or you have some management questions, send it over to THEE MILL management pod, like POD, at gmail.com. Again, that is the Mill Management Pod at gmail.com. Let's get to it. Let's take our first email today. So from Betty, it says, over the summer, my personal items were missing. My manager had 4 specific people moving things. And everyone's response is, IDK, what happened to your stuff? Well, I've continued pushing the issue month after month, and I was given 1 item back and an apology. My manager continues to add lie on top of lie, I got my opinion on that. She she said a cleaning crew did it and lots of others helped too. Now, IT won't even check the cameras, child. The lies just keep growing. I hope this is a good start for your podcast. Thank you, girl. Now, my opinion of this is that this lady knows exactly who stole it. She see this person every day. All right? This lady look at this person all the time. And you know who it is? It's her ass. She is the one that went in there and stole from your bag. And she also the reason why IT has not looked at them damn cameras, because she is probably deflecting. Now, if I was you and it was some personal things of value, I would have started a police report. I would have filed a police report, which would have initiated an investigation. Okay? Because this lady is lying. She is probably the person who stole your stuff. And what I would do is make sure that the police know about it. I don't know how long ago this happened, because you said over the summer. So I'm not sure exactly when. But I would definitely, if it's something that you really, really care about, I would absolutely file a damn police report so that they can investigate. Because I feel like the person who took your stuff is looking at you every day, and she looking at herself in the mirror because it was her. Okay? I hope you get your stuff back. Now, this next email is coming from a Betty that is sick and tired. Okay? Now, it says, I am currently sick of my job. Baby, I'm so sorry. Okay? It says, my manager has become a micromanager. Y'all, we done talked about this today. Clocking my every move. He is also manipulative, playing his employees against one another. I want to apply for other jobs, but if someone calls me for an interview, I have to wait 2 weeks before I can go. Lord have mercy. My manager has made it clear that if you have to put weeks or 2 weeks notice for any appointment you have scheduled, how am I supposed to go to an interview when called? I have to give 2 weeks to my boss. Baby, you are most certainly dealing with a micromanager, okay? And one of the worst, all right? Now, what I would say is to try to schedule an interview, if possible, during your lunch hour, because he can't tell you where you can go and what you can do during your lunch. Now, if you happen to run over, then that may be a issue or concern, and you just have to figure out if you want to cause an issue there if you happen to run over. But I would be very clear to the potential employer that you have to take any interviews during your lunch. Also, okay, this is a possibility. Depending on what type of industry you are working in, they may be more than willing to do the interviews after hours. I have done that before. For people who are in the clinical field, depending on what area you are in, some managers are willing to do the interviews after hours, and I have done that. And so if it's something that you really want to do, maybe that is an avenue. As far as him dealing or being a micromanager, you have to manage up, and this is one of the things that we talked about. So he's clocking your every move. Give it to him. I'm going to the restroom. I'm doing this. I'm going to take a bite for a snack. Is there anything that you need? Let's schedule a meeting. Let's discuss this process. Let's make these changes. Like, more than likely, he is going to back off. But someone who, because we talked about this, not only that this person is manipulative, but this person also is pitting the employees against each other. He's sowing confusion, like what we talked about. And so when you have a person like that, you have to deal with them accordingly. Get everything in writing. Every single thing that is said, get it in writing. Okay? If this is what he has made clear, make sure that this is also company policy, that you have to give 2 weeks before you have to take off. If that's the case, go ahead and put in your 2 weeks for whatever day that you are going to mass interview. Okay? So let's say you want to do them on a Thursday. go ahead, if you have that time available, take that Thursday off. And when you start applying for jobs, start telling jobs, yeah, I'm available this Thursday. I'm available this Thursday. Go ahead and take that time off ahead of time. You know you're interviewing. Start doing it that way. So either pre-request those days off and utilize that time to either apply for jobs or to actually interview. Or you need to talk to the potential hires and see if they're interested or available to do interviews after hours. Or the last option is to do it during your lunch and risk being late, which you just have to kind of see what situation you want to fall in. So be careful making that decision, and please keep us updated. Well, that is a wrap on today's podcast. I wanted to thank y'all so much for your continued support online, supporting this podcast. It really, really, really means the world to me. If you have any questions, again, please send them to the Meal Management pod@gmail.com. The next episode, I am going to try and read more than one, or I think I'm going to maybe create like a bonus episode so that we can kind of get through the questions, because I have quite a few. But I think this was a great first episode. Thank you again for your support. If you aren't following me yet, definitely follow me over on The Millennial Manager on every social media site, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. We have a really, really good time. I like to cut up a little bit, have a good time. And I am definitely very, very, very thankful for my following and all of the support. You guys are just really, really awesome. Thank you so much for just standing 10 toes down behind your girl. And I will be back next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
दिन भर का स्ट्रेस और खाने के बाद सिगरेट, ये धुआं हटाओ टोबैको निल के साथ। इंडियाज़ फर्स्ट 24 आवर निकोटीन पैच जो दिन भर आपकी क्रेविंग्स रिड्यूस करे स्मार्ट टाइम रिलीज टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ और सिगरेट छोड़ने में आपकी हेल्प करे। आज ही शुरू करें टोबैको निल की 12-week therapy. So here's to smoke-free days with Tobacco Nil, helping you quit one step at a time. Also available as nicotine gums. Buy now on Amazon, Tata 1mg and NetMeds. Also available at Apollo Pharmacy, Wellness Forever and Noble Plus stores.